In 1939, The Wizard of Oz premiered, becoming one of the greatest classic films of all time with the song Over the Rainbow and pioneering color techniques. But behind that dazzling rainbow, few know that the lives of the cast were filled with pain, tragedy, and enduring solitude. This is a journey to reveal the true stories behind the magic of Oz. Frank Morgan as the Wizard of Oz, the Man of Many Faces. Frank Morgan, born Francis Philip Wupperman on June 1, 1890 in New York, into an affluent family. Forsaking a wealthy inheritance, he pursued art and became a prominent character actor of the 1930s. When he played the Wizard of Oz in The Wizard of Oz 1939, he was 49 and at the height of his fame. Remarkably, Frank not only played the wizard, but also 4 other characters: Professor Marvel the Gatekeeper, the Carriage Driver, and the Emerald City Guard. He brilliantly portrayed the wisdom, cunning, and fragility of these little men in a great world. The character of the wizard, seemingly powerful but actually just an ordinary man hidden behind a curtain, mirrored his own real life, talented humorous but solitary. Off-screen, Frank Morgan was a kind and profound man, yet he struggled with depression and alcoholism. Friends recounted that after every filming session, he often sat alone drinking, murmuring, "I am just the wizard of the illusions I myself create." That quote became a symbol of the artist's internal conflict between glory and existential emptiness. Frank Morgan passed away on September 18, 1949, aged 59, from a heart attack in Beverly Hills. He was interred at Holy Cross Cemetery, Culver City. His net worth at death was about $2 million USD, a figure reflecting both his success and his frugality. Despite his short life, Frank Morgan left an immortal image, a benevolent wizard who brought faith to Dorothy and millions of viewers, though he never found magic for himself. Judy Garland as Dorothy Gale, the girl who never returned to Kansas. Judy Garland, born Frances Ethel Gum on June 10, 1922 in Grand Rapids, Minnesota. She took to the stage from the age of 3, performing with her 2 sisters in her parents' theater. When she was chosen to play Dorothy Gale in The Wizard of Oz 1939, Judy was only 17. The young girl with the angelic voice and innocent eyes became the symbol of youth hope and the longing to find home. The role of Dorothy was the soul of the film. Her rendition of Somewhere Over the Rainbow propelled Judy Garland to the rank of Hollywood's brightest stars. But behind that spotlight was a life full of tears. From her teenage years, MGM Studio forced her to lose weight, demanded she use stimulants to stay awake for night shoots and sleeping pills to rest. The brutal schedule and pressure for perfection made Judy dependent on drugs and alcohol early on. She once said, "I grew up on the studio lot, where they wouldn't let me be a child." Despite becoming a great singer and actress with dozens of famous films, Judy was always haunted by a feeling of emptiness. She went through 5 broken marriages, suffered from anxiety and depression, and often performed in a state of exhaustion. In her final years, Judy performed in London burdened by debt, struggling to raise her 3 children, including actress Liza Minnelli. On June 22, 1969, Judy Garland passed away in London at just 47 years old due to an accidental sedative overdose. Her ashes were interred at Hollywood Forever Cemetery, where fans still bring flowers each year. Her net worth at death was only about $40,000 USD, minuscule compared to the huge legacy she left behind. Judy Garland is forever the symbol of light and sorrow. She sang about the rainbow, where dreams and reality intersect, but she herself never found the road back to her own Kansas. Ray Bolger as the Scarecrow, the ragged smile behind the straw mask. Ray Bolger, born on January 10, 1904 in Boston, Massachusetts, was a famous dancer and stage actor known for his flexible, energetic performing style. When he was chosen to play the brainless Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz 1939, he was 35 and already a beloved Broadway star. That role, with his loose joints, naive smile, and kind soul, was firmly attached to his name for life. In the film, the Scarecrow is the first friend to accompany Dorothy on the yellow brick road. He yearns for a brain, yet always acts intelligently, bravely, and kindly. Ray Bolger used his own dancing talent to create the character's signature physique, a body soft as straw, a gait that was wobbling yet full of grace. He performed many scenes himself without a stunt double, making the Scarecrow one of the most beloved characters in cinematic history. Yet behind the humor, Ray Bolger was haunted by that very role. Despite starring in over 20 films afterwards, he never escaped the Scarecrow's shadow. He once confided, "I was given a brain on screen, but off-screen people only remembered me as the one without a mind." That sorrow stayed with him until the end of his life. Outside of his career, Ray was a private person married to Gwen Rickard and childless. He lived simply avoiding Hollywood noise, but still carried a deep longing for the golden age that had passed. In his final years, he suffered from bladder cancer, but maintained an optimistic attitude, often joking, "At least I still have a heart and more courage than the lion." Ray Bolger passed away on January 15, 1987, aged 83 in Los Angeles. He was interred at Holy Cross Cemetery, Culver City. His net worth at death was about $2 million USD, a figure worthy of his 6 decades of contribution. Ray Bolger is forever an icon of sincerity, wit, and kindness. Like the Scarecrow, he proved that true intellect lies not in the head, but in a heart that knows how to love and a smile that knows how to illuminate others. Bert Lahr as the Cowardly Lion. The real fear behind the roar. Bert Lahr, born Irving Lahrheim on August 13, 1895 in New York. Coming from vaudeville and Broadway comedy, he was a famous actor due to his animated acting style, flexible face, and innate ability to joke. When he played the Cowardly Lion in The Wizard of Oz 1939, he was 44, bringing a character who was both humorous and deeply emotional. A weakling seeking courage, yet the bravest of Dorothy's companions. His costume weighed nearly 30 kilograms, made from real lion hides, which made filming arduous. The studio temperature reached 40 degrees Celsius, forcing him to change multiple layers of sweat-soaked clothing, sometimes exhausting him to the point of collapse. Despite this, Lahr never complained. He only feared one thing: that the audience would stop laughing. After the success of The Wizard of Oz, Bert Lahr became one of Broadway's most celebrated comedians, but he struggled with the fear of being forgotten. Off-screen, Lahr was a contemplative man, a perfectionist to the point of obsession. He once said, "I never think I'm good enough. Even when the audience gives a standing ovation, I still hear someone laughing at me in my head." That insecurity led him to suffer from insomnia and mild depression. His private life was also turbulent. His first wife died young, leaving a big void in his heart. Although he remarried and had 2 children, Bert still lived with a sense of solitude. He found joy in his work, continuing to perform comedy until the end of his life, always afraid that if he stopped laughing, he would vanish from the world. Bert Lahr passed away on December 4, 1967, aged 72 in New York, while filming The Night They Raided Minsky's. He was buried at Union Field Cemetery, Queens. His net worth at death was estimated at about $1.5 million USD, modest but worthy of a lifetime of contribution. Despite being the Cowardly Lion, Bert Lahr taught the world about true courage, daring to face fear and turning it into laughter that has sustained millions of hearts for nearly a century. Jack Haley as the Tin Man. The metal heart that knew no pain. Jack Haley, born John Joseph Haley Jr. on August 10, 1898 in Boston, Massachusetts. Originating as a comedic singer in vaudeville shows, he possessed a gentle voice and a cheerful demeanor. When he was chosen to play the Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz 1939, he was 41, a replacement choice for actor Buddy Ebsen, who had to quit the role due to poisoning from the toxic silver paint used in the costume. Iron replaced tin, and fate forever linked Jack to the heartless metal character. In the film, the Tin Man is a symbol of affection and kindness despite believing he lacked a heart. With his gentle smile and warm singing voice in the song, "If I Only Had a Heart," Jack convinced the audience of the beauty of kindness. Yet to create that role, he had to endure physical and mental pain. The thick silver makeup made it difficult for him to breathe, and he had to stop filming multiple times due to severe skin irritation. Off-screen, Jack Haley was composed in private. He once admitted he always felt he was not prominent enough amidst the big names in the cast, even though the audience genuinely loved him. After The Wizard of Oz, Jack mostly returned to the stage and television as Hollywood began to favor younger faces. He once said, "I played the man with no heart, but that role gave me a heart." Jack's private life was relatively calm. He married actress Florence McFadden and had 2 children with his son Jack Haley Jr., later becoming a famous director, and marrying Liza Minnelli, the daughter of his co-star, Judy Garland. That fateful connection kept the 2 Oz families linked across generations. Jack Haley passed away on June 6, 1979, aged 80 from a heart attack in Los Angeles. He was interred at Holy Cross Cemetery, Culver City. His net worth at death was estimated at $5 million USD, reflecting a lifetime of persistent scandal-free and quiet work. Jack Haley's Tin Man lacked not only a heart, he was the heart of the Wizard of Oz, gentle, genuine, and forever echoing like the beat of human affection amidst a shining, illusory world. Billie Burke as Glinda, the gentle pink. Light in the dark world, Billie Burke. Born Mary William Ethelbert, Appleton Burke, on August 7, 1884 in Washington, D.C. Born into an artistic family, she soon toured Europe with her parents and was loved by audiences for her charm, light voice, and aristocratic demeanor. When she took on the role of Glinda, the Good Witch of the North in The Wizard of Oz, 1939, Billie was 55, already an icon of classical Hollywood elegance. In the film, Glinda appears amidst a radiant pink glow with a sparkling crown and a lulling voice. Her character is not just a guide for Dorothy, but the embodiment of kindness and wisdom, a soft magic amidst a chaotic world. For Billie Burke, the role seemed to reflect the woman herself, gentle yet enduring, fragile yet strong. Billie's real life was filled with silent sorrow. After marrying legendary producer Florenz Ziegfeld, she once lived a life of luxury. But when he passed away in 1932, Billie was nearly devastated. She faced debt loss and solitude. During those difficult years, she returned to the screen, transforming into humorous, self-deprecating society ladies, a way of hiding her sorrow with laughter. Although she always maintained an elegant exterior, Billie lived a secluded life, suffering from anxiety and mild depression. She once confided, "People think I shine, but that light is only to hide the darkness inside." It was her gentle smile, clear voice, and boundless compassion that helped her maintain her beautiful image in a highly competitive Hollywood. Billie Burke passed away on May 14, 1970, at the age of 85 in Los Angeles. She rests at Kensico Cemetery, New York, leaving an estate of about $5 million USD, but her greatest value is the audience's respect. Billie's Glinda is not just the good witch in a fairy tale, but the image of rare kindness amidst glamour and injury. The woman so gentle she seemed fragile yet strong enough to make the whole world believe in goodness. Margaret Hamilton as the Wicked Witch of the West, the fateful fire on the silver screen. Margaret Hamilton, born on December 9, 1902, in Cleveland, Ohio, was a former elementary school teacher before finding her calling on the stage. With her angular face and sharp voice, she was soon cast in villainous roles, which shaped her entire career. When she played the Wicked Witch of the West in The Wizard of Oz, 1939, she was 37 and never expected that role would make her one of cinema's most terrifying and most misunderstood characters. Margaret masterfully embodied the Green Witch with her terrifying laugh and the immortal line, "I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too." However, few know that the filming process was incredibly dangerous and painful for her. In the scene where she disappears in a puff of smoke, the copper-based makeup and studio fire effects caught her costume ablaze, causing severe third-degree burns to her face and hands. Margaret had to stop filming for 6 weeks, enduring physical pain, but when she returned to the set, she still smiled and joked, "I'll only do smoke-free witch acts from now on." Off-screen, Margaret was a kind and thoughtful person, completely contrary to her wicked on-screen image. She often spoke to children to reassure them that the witch was only a role. Nevertheless, for years, children were frightened when they saw her in real life, causing her to break down in tears on several occasions due to hurt feelings. She lived alone, raising her only son after her divorce, and quietly devoted herself to advocating for children's welfare and educational rights, something little known. She once said, "If there's anything that makes me feel like a witch, it's the ability to stand up after everything." Margaret Hamilton passed away on May 16, 1985, at the age of 82 in Connecticut due to a heart attack. She was cremated, and her ashes were given to the family. Her net worth at death was estimated at about $1 million USD, modest, but worthy of a lifetime of devoted artistry. Charley Grapewin as Uncle Henry the farmer, smiling through the storm. Charley Grapewin, born on December 20, 1869 in Xenia, Ohio, was one of the most veteran actors of The Wizard of Oz. Before coming to cinema, he was a circus performer for Barnum and Bailey's show, famous for his tightrope walking talent and natural acting ability. When he played Uncle Henry, he was 70 years old, bringing the image of the simple, composed, and warm rural man, the symbol of the home Dorothy yearned to return to. His character had few lines, but every glance and smile contained the silent love of a father. Uncle Henry is the soul of Kansas, a peaceful place between dream and reality. Charley Grapewin himself, with his genuine demeanor and warm voice, made the audience believe that home is not just a place, but the people who are always waiting for us to return. Yet behind that gentle face, Charley went through years of loss. He lost his wife early, lived solitarily for many years, then buried himself in work to forget the pain. Before The Wizard of Oz, he had a memorable role in The Grapes of Wrath, 1940, portraying the displaced American farmer, a role that made him considered the face of America's working class. Off-screen, Charley was a humble man, disliked noise, and rarely appeared before the media. Friends recounted that he always kept the habit of sitting alone reading the newspaper and writing letters, still remembering every old co-star. He once said, "I'm not a star, I'm just a storyteller." Charley Grapewin passed away on February 2, 1956, aged 86 in Corona, California. He was interred at Forest Lawn Memorial Park, Glendale. His net worth at death was about $500,000 USD, mostly dedicated to his grandchildren and a fund for elderly artists. Although gone, Charley is still remembered as the face representing simple kindness in The Wizard of Oz. He needed no magic or fame. Just the gentle smile of Uncle Henry was enough to make the audience believe that at the end of the yellow brick road, there is always a home waiting for us. Pat Walshe as Nikko, the broken wing in The Hollywood Shadow. Pat Walshe, born on July 26, 1900 in New York City, was a peculiar and innately talented artist. He was only under 1.2 meters tall, but possessed exceptional flexibility, dancing skills, and physical expressiveness. Starting his career at age 7 in circuses and vaudeville theaters, Pat soon became a dancer and actor, specializing in embodying animals, especially monkeys, which led him to be cast as Nikko, the leader of the winged monkeys in The Wizard of Oz, 1939, when he was 39. Although the role of Nikko had no lines, Pat Walshe made the character terrifying and memorable. The thick fur costume, the heavy rubber mask, and hours of cable suspension made the transformation a torment. He suffered scratches all over his body and suffocated multiple times due to lack of oxygen. Despite this, Pat never complained. He said that appearing in that film was the biggest magic of his life after The Wizard of Oz. Pat continued to perform in circuses and small theaters, but Hollywood quickly forgot him. Roles for little people almost vanished as the musical film genre declined. Pat lived quietly, never married, dedicating most of his time to his pets and training animals for television shows. Friends recounted that he always carried a behind-the-scenes photo of Oz in his wallet, viewing it as a ticket back to his youth. Although rarely mentioned, Pat was the last surviving member of the original main cast. He passed away on December 11, 1991, at the age of 91 in Los Angeles. His ashes were scattered at sea as per his wish, like the way the winged monkey king returned to the sky. His net worth at death was only about $100,000 USD, but the spiritual value he left to cinema is priceless. Pat Walshe is a testament to silent dedication in art, the one who flew on the silver screen not with real wings, but with the belief of a small yet indomitable heart. Clara Blandick as Auntie M, the tragedy of the kind. Aunt Clara Blandick, Born on June 4, 1876 in Hong Kong, to an American family, grew up in Boston and found her way to the stage in her youth. With a warm voice and a kind face, she was often cast as mothers and kind aunts in plays and films of the 1920s-1930s. When she played Auntie M in The Wizard of Oz 1939, Clara was 63, and the role became the biggest mark of her career, the image of the hard-working, compassionate woman who always sheltered Dorothy. On screen, Auntie M appeared only briefly, but left a deep impression. It was the tenderness in Clara's eyes that made the audience believe Dorothy truly had a place called home. Yet behind that smile, Clara's life was a sequence of solitude and depression. Despite appearing in over 100 films, she was never given a leading role or deserved recognition. As old age set in, opportunities gradually closed, money dwindled, and her health weakened. Clara lived alone in a small Hollywood apartment without a husband, children, or close relatives. She suffered from severe arthritis and was nearly blind, which made movement painful. Doctors informed her she would soon be fully paralyzed. This news drove Clara to despair. On April 15, 1962, she neatly arranged her bedroom, placed her acting awards and photos of her youth on the table, and sitting on her bed used a plastic bag to end her life at the age of 85. Beside her was a small note, "I am about to go home." Clara was cremated, and her ashes were interred at Forest Lawn Memorial Park, Glendale. Her net worth at death was estimated at only about $1,000 USD, but the affection the audience held for her is immeasurable. Clara Blandick's death is one of the saddest tragedies of classical Hollywood, a proof that behind the warm, on-screen mothers was a fragile heart that truly yearned to be loved. And perhaps in her final moments, she found her own Kansas, a place where there was no more pain, only the light of home. Terry as Toto. The four-legged star and the sad fate. After the bark. Terry, the small female cairn terrier born in 1933 in California, was one of the most famous animal actors in Hollywood history. Trained by Carl Spitz, a renowned dog trainer, Terry quickly showed astonishing acting ability, clever, responsive to commands, and notably capable of conveying emotion through her eyes, a rare trait in animals. When she was chosen to play Toto, Dorothy's loyal friend in The Wizard of Oz, 1939, Terry was only 6 years old, and no one expected she would become an icon associated with the childhood memories of millions of viewers for nearly a century. In the film, Toto was not just a pet, but the soul that connected the entire story. It was Toto who made Dorothy run away from home and then inadvertently pulled her into the fateful tornado. It was also Toto who made Dorothy realize the value of home when the journey ended. Small, loyal, brave, the image of Toto running around barking amidst the dazzling world of magic touched the hearts of the audience. Under Spitz's strict training, Terry completed over 15 complex scenes, including segments where she had to run through smoke jump onto a table or lie still at Judy Garland's feet during crying scenes, all perfectly executed after only a few takes. But behind those adorable scenes was a little-known tragedy. In a scene when the Wicked Witch appeared in the smoke, a supporting actor accidentally stepped on Terry's paw, breaking her leg. The small dog had to stop filming for 2 weeks and was taken home by Judy Garland, who was 17 at the time, to be cared for. Judy loved Terry like a true friend. She once wrote that Toto was the most honest co-star I ever had. Nevertheless, the injury left Terry with a limp for life, and although she recovered enough to continue filming the incident, left an indelible mark on the crew. After the film ended, Terry continued to appear in other works like Bright Eyes with Shirley Temple and The Women 1939, but no role achieved the success of Toto. To honor the dog's famed trainer, Carl Spitz officially renamed her Toto, turning the role into her real identity. However, Toto's later life was solitary, living reclusively at Spitz's training ranch, no longer sought after as before because Hollywood quickly forgot the four-legged stars who once helped them create magic. Terry Toto passed away in 1945, aged 12, due to natural causes. Her grave was initially buried in Carl Spitz's backyard in Studio City, Los Angeles. But in 1958, when the Ventura Freeway was built, the grave was destroyed, and no one knows where Toto's actual ashes were moved. In 2011, fans erected a new memorial at Hollywood Forever Cemetery, inscribed with the words, "Here lies Toto, the true friend of Dorothy." Toto's financial value was not officially recorded, but according to MGM studio records, her salary for The Wizard of Oz was $125 per week, higher than many human extras. A small figure, but enough to affirm that amidst the dazzling magic of Oz, the brightest star was sometimes just a loyal heart that loved unconditionally. Toto did not speak a word in the film, but her bark still echoes across generations, reminding us that sometimes a small friendship is what leads us through the storm to return home. The Singer Midgets as the Munchkin Villagers. The Little Souls, forgotten by Hollywood. The Singer Midgets was a famous troupe of little people originally from Austria, founded in the early 20th century by Leo Singer, a Vienna-born entrepreneur with artistic vision, but also full of calculation. Before coming to Hollywood, the troupe toured extensively across Europe and North America in circuses, vaudeville theaters, and large festivals. When MGM Studio cast actors for The Wizard of Oz 1939, Leo Singer signed a contract bringing over 120 members of the troupe to California to portray the inhabitants of Munchkin Land, the cheerful, colorful residents who welcomed Dorothy when she fell into the magical land. On screen, the Munchkins were a source of cheerful energy, symbolizing innocence, freedom, and hope in the imaginary world of Oz. They sang the immortal song, "Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead," one of the most beloved segments in cinematic history. But behind those radiant smiles and vibrant costumes, the Singer Midgets lived a collective tragedy, a story few dare to tell about exploitation, solitude, and discrimination. When signing the contract with MGM, Leo Singer acted as the legal representative and manager of all their wages. He promised the members that they would be paid $100 per week, housed in upscale hotels, and have fair working conditions. In reality, they received only $50 or less, while Singer kept the rest. They were segregated in separate hotels, ate separately from the main cast, and were not permitted to interact with Judy Garland or the big stars. Some recounted that during filming, the Midgets troupe was called derogatory nicknames and frequently treated as set decoration. What is more bitter is that after the film's success, none of them were credited by name, except for the short line Munchkins played by the Singer Midgets. An entire community of artists was erased from history, despite being an essential part of creating that wondrous world. They were not invited to the film's premiere, received no medals, no certificates, only behind-the-scenes photos to prove they were there. After the film concluded, many members of the Singer Midgets could not find other work. Their small stature led to social discrimination, trapping them in the image of the funny little person that Hollywood had created. Some returned to Europe, others joined circuses or became street performers. A few, like Jerry Marin, were luckier. He became the last surviving Munchkin, honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2007. But the majority of the troupe sank into oblivion. No one remembers their names. Leo Singer, the founder and manager of the troupe, passed away in 1951, leaving behind much controversy. While some members thanked him for bringing them a rare opportunity, others believed he exploited their status for personal gain. There are no exact statistics on the net worth of each member, but most of the Singer Midgets left Hollywood in poverty, relying on temporary performances. Nevertheless, they left a profound spiritual legacy, the courage and resilience of small people who dared to stand on the world's biggest stage. Today, whenever the song "Follow the Yellow Brick Road" plays, we should remember not just Dorothy, Toto, or their companions, but also the over 100 little artists who lent their voices and efforts. Those whose names were not on the poster, but who are indispensable to the soul of the Wizard of Oz. They are the stars who did not shine brightly in the Hollywood sky, but who shine eternally in the hearts of those who understand that true magic comes from the smallest people. The Wizard of Oz, 1939, will forever be one of the greatest cinematic masterpieces of all time. Not only for its groundbreaking techniques, music, or color, but because it contains the very souls of the people who contributed to that magic. Yet behind the smiles, the spotlight, and the song Somewhere Over the Rainbow are real-life stories drenched in tears, where fame was insufficient to cover solitude and the stage lights could not banish the darkness in the soul. The stars of The Wizard of Oz all went through a shared journey, loved by the whole world, then gradually forgotten in solitude, illness, or mental suffering. But it is those very tragedies that make them immortal. They are proof of human fragility behind the artistic monument, where every smile on screen was exchanged for silent pain backstage. And though time passes, the memory of them still lives on in every melody, every frame, every step Dorothy takes on the yellow brick road home. Those stories remind us that every spotlight has a shadow behind it, and sometimes true courage lies not in defeating monsters but in daring to face the fear in one's own heart, as those actors did. Share in the comments section which character in The Wizard of Oz moved you the most, and which part of their life story do you feel closest to? If you want to continue exploring emotional backstage stories, hit like, subscribe, and join us across the rainbow, where light and shadow together tell the miraculous story.